At about 4 in the afternoon on the 14th of August 2003, a tree branch in Ohio touched a power line. Within an hour, 50 million people across the northeastern United States and Canada were sitting in the dark. No storm, no attack. Just one overgrown tree and a chain of failures that fell like dominoes, each knocking over the next. I'm going to count those dominoes with you, and by the end, you will see why the grid's greatest strength is also its greatest danger. To understand the fall, understand the design. The power grid is not a set of separate city systems. It is one vast machine, thousands of generators, spun in perfect lockstep, feeding a single connected web that can span half a continent. This is deliberate, and it is brilliant. If one plant fails, power flows in from everywhere else, instantly, to cover it. Connection is what makes the grid resilient. But that same connection is a loaded gun, because everything is linked. A failure in one place does not stay in one place. Power that was flowing down a broken path has to go somewhere, and it instantly reroutes onto neighboring lines that may not have been built to carry it. The grid's great virtue, sharing, is also the road along which disaster travels. So count the dominoes. Domino 1, on a hot day, power lines sag as they heat up under heavy load. One sagging line in Ohio drooped into an untrimmed tree and tripped offline. Trivial, local, the kind of thing that happens somewhere, every week. On its own, nothing. But the alarm system that should have warned the operators had silently failed, so no one knew the fall had begun. Domino 2, the power that line was carrying did not vanish. It shifted onto nearby lines, which now carried more than their share. They heated, sagged, and touched trees of their own, and tripped one after another. Each failure dumped its load onto the next, and each new burden made the next failure faster. The dominoes were now falling on their own, quicker than any human could react. Domino 3, the cascade went faster than people. In a matter of minutes, the rerouting outran every operator watching the screen. Generators, sensing a grid gone unstable, began shutting themselves down to protect their own machinery, which removed even more power, which destabilized the grid further, which tripped even more plants. A protective reflex, multiplied across the network, became the very thing tearing it apart. And then it stopped, because there was almost nothing left to fall. In roughly 7 minutes, a single tree branch had grown into the largest blackout in North American history. 50 million people, 8 American states and a Canadian province, dark. Some were without power for 2 days. The trigger and the catastrophe were separated by a gap no human intuition would ever have guessed. But here is what the investigation found, and it should unsettle you. The deepest cause was not the tree. It was that the people running the grid could not see what was happening. Their warning systems had failed, and neighboring operators were not sharing what they knew in time. The cascade was electrical. The blindness was human. The machine did exactly what it was built to do. The people simply lost sight of it. And here is the trap we cannot escape. We could make the grid safer by cutting it into isolated islands so a fall in one could never spread. But we don't, because that same connection is what keeps power cheap and reliable every ordinary day, letting regions lend each other electricity minute by minute. We have chosen the system that is superb almost always and catastrophic just rarely enough to forget. Which is the strange bargain under every light switch. The grid's resilience and the grid's fragility are not two features. They are the same feature, total interconnection, seen on a good day and a bad one. What protects you from small failures is exactly what exposes you to enormous ones. So run the dominoes back one last time. A branch, a sagging line, a blind operator, a cascade faster than thought. The grid's greatest strength, that it is all connected, is precisely how one tree branch, on one August afternoon, blacked out 50 million people. Strength and weakness, as promised, turned out to be the very same wire.